Hello everyone, I'm Jasper and this is JJ Vids. Welcome to the channel, and today we're going to be doing a review on this 2021 Lexus NX300. And I actually like this car in particular, and I've been wanting to do a review on this for a while now, but today we're going to do the review, and there's quite a bit of stuff to go over this car right here. Even though it looks like a normal, crossover SUV, pretty much like all the other cars on the road today, but this NX300 has a couple tricks up its sleeve that I'm going to show you in today's video. So with that being said, we're going to hop right on in. Stay tuned. We're going to start off by taking a look underneath the hood of the NX300, where we have a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder producing about 235 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. And this particular model is a non-hybrid version. They made the NX300 in either a hybrid or a non-hybrid version. The hybrids came all-wheel drive. The non-hybrids just came front-wheel drive. And we have the non-hybrid front-wheel drive version right here. But taking a step back and looking at the NX300, you can kind of tell this looks like a Toyota RAV4 a little bit, and that's because this car is based off of the RAV4 platform with a similar powertrain and ergonomics to that car. But other than that, those are the only similarities the RAV4 and the NX has, because Lexus went to the drawing board on this NX model, really redoing everything from the exterior design to the interior, and the interior is really where this car shines. But just taking a look at the paint color that this car is finished in, this is called Lexus Atomic Silver, which is a nice metallic silver. It changes different colors depending on the light. But another part that I wanted to mention is that Lexus had a facelift on the NX in the model year 2018 and redid a few features on the exterior, like front and rear bumpers, as well as a new grille. And the most notable part for me is the daytime running lights, because the pre-facelift daytime running lights were just dotted lights going all the way across, where this daytime running light for the updated model is just one solid check mark. And that was a really good facelift for this car. It really brought it into the modern times. And there are a few different models you can get the NX300 in, either the F Sport, the hybrid, or the base model. This is the base model right here, and I personally like the design of the base model the most out of all the models, because the F Sport grille just looks like a crocodile mouth trying to bite your face off, where this grille looks still somewhat sensible. It's not too crazy like all the other modern grills a lot of the other automakers are going with right now. And another reason I like this model of car is because it's just a gas. It's not a hybrid. It's not all-wheel drive. It's not something that's going to break on you in 6, 7, 10 years from now. This car is basically designed to run a super long time, and that's kind of the point of Lexus, and that's why I think this spec Lexus is really nice right here, because it's as simple as this car gets, which means you're just going to be spending less money on maintenance down the line. I want to bring you guys to the rear of the NX300 because, for one, this one is spec'd with a tow hook, which is definitely useful for some scenarios. But a big factor about this whole rear end from the facelift, they didn't really change the taillights that much, but they did change the rear bumper. And a notable part is that the pre-facelift bumper had standalone exhaust pipes that looked really, really good. And for some reason, Lexus got rid of those standalone exhaust pipes and just kind of integrated the little tailpipe into the bumper right there. My guess is that they did that so if somebody rear-ended you, it's going to cost less to replace the rear end than just having standalone exhaust pipes. But to be honest with you, I really like the pre-facelift bumper more than the facelifted bumper that is fitted on this car right here. But with that being said, we're going to hop into the interior of the NX300 because that's really where this car shines. Hopping into the NX300, the first thing with the door handle, much better quality than the RAV4. You can just tell right off the bat. And then hopping into the interior, we can see that this is finished in a full black interior, which is a really nice spec for this car. Complements the Atomic Silver really well. Just turning on the ignition, we could see that the steering wheel is telescoping. It just comes out to you automatically. And then you get this nice little animation with the screen and the gauge cluster, as well as the infotainment system there. Another cool feature this NX300 has is the power folding mirrors, as well as 3-way memory seats for the driver And a really cool one is the automatic windows. So what that is all you have to do is push down the button one time for all 4 windows, back and front, and also just pull it up one time, and it automatically does it for you. So you don't have to sit there and just hold the window up. It'll just do it for you. But the NX300 has a lot of features that the RAV4 doesn't have, and a lot of things that makes this car special here. For one is the Smart Axis push button start and stop, dual zone climate control, full leather interior, 10-way powered seats, and powered tilts telescoping steering wheel. Taking a look at the NX300 center console, there's a few things to go over here, and the first thing is the traditional gear selector, where most cars nowadays have a button or a dial to change it into drive, neutral, or reverse. This thing's old school, just putting it into drive, neutral, and reverse by actually physically putting it into gear, which I kind of like. And then we have an electronic parking brake, as well as different drive mode selectors, which you can just change by turning the dial. And whenever you do turn the dial, it changes the display in the screen from eco. Pressing it down, you get normal, and then turning the dial to the right, you get sport. And as you can see, sport, it makes the screen kind of red and stuff, and it also peps up the driving experience as well. Checking out this upper area, there's a few things I like here as well. First thing is the analog clock. It's a really classy feature. A lot of Lexuses have this. And then we have a really cool feature. We have ventilated, 3-way ventilated seats and heated seats for both the driver and passenger, which is really convenient. And then we have our climate control right here, which is controlled by these little dials, which you can, put up or down for the fan, temperature, dual zone temperature, and then this directs the air in whatever direction you want it to go. So it's a pretty clean setup up here. And then looking at the gauge cluster, we have a pretty much analog gauge, but we have this little screen in the middle which tells us a lot of information, like the range. We have our average MPG, and then we have our eco indicator and a bunch of other stuff, miles per hour. And just going across, there's a lot of different stuff you can do in this little screen right here, which is really convenient because that way you really don't have to take your eyes off the road or the gauge cluster. Everything you really need is right here. But if you need more information than that, everything else is going to be located right here in this big screen. Now, Lexus NX300s don't come touchscreen. This is controlled through this little mouse pad down here. And an important thing to note about this mouse pad is that a lot of other Lexus models came out with a traditional mouse in the previous generations, and it was an absolutely terrible example of an infotainment control system. And when the NX came out in 2015, they ditched that right off the bat, and they just did this touchpad right here, which I have to say works pretty well. I haven't had any issues with it. And this has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and navigation. And the way you could tell that this is navigation is that the screen comes all the way out to the edge right here, where most NXs, the screen stops about right here, and it's a much smaller display. And that's a really important factor as well, because I mentioned before that this NX is the base model NX, and it's really rare to find a base model NX with a navigation system and a Mark Levinson sound system package, which this car does. And there's a couple other features that this NX has, which is pretty cool, like the heated steering wheel, where you can press that button right there, then the steering wheel will get nice and heated for you. And then we got this button right here, this view button, where you can see you get a 360-degree view of the car, which is also a part of the navigation package. You can't get this if you don't get the navigation with the bigger screen. And this is a really nice feature in order to help you park and stuff like that. Looking at the back seat of the NX300, the theme of luxury continues, with every surface of this interior pretty much wrapped in soft touch leather, and wherever you touch, it's just nice. It's soft touch, and it feels really good. And taking a look back here, it's pretty standard. There aren't really too many outstanding features back here, but we will hop in and take a look. And one thing that's super noticeable about Lexus NX300s, comparing it to a RAV4, is shutting the door. because when you shut the door, the amount of insulation that's in this car compared to RAV4's is completely night and day. When you're driving on the road in this car, it's really hard to hear road noise. It's really secluded and nice and honestly luxurious in here. And the RAV4 is just not like that. One thing I did want to mention about the back seats of the NX is that you are not deprived for cup holders back here, because when you put down the center console, you still have 2 center cup holders right here, as well as cup holders for each of the rear doors, which creates a total of 8 cup holders, including front and rear, which is really good for anything you use this car for, especially if you live in America. But one more feature with the NX, you get these rear climate control vents here, so the rear passengers won't be deprived for air. And like I said, you do get the automatic powered up and down windows for the rear passengers as well as the front passengers. But with that being said, I think that's a good place to leave off the interior review of the Lexus NX300. I think we need to take this thing for a drive now, because that's where this car really shines. So with that being said, let's get right into it. Driving the Lexus NX300. And first thing I want to mention is just the overall ride quality of this car is so nice. I mean, whenever you turn the steering wheel, it's actually not too big. You would expect a Lexus like this to have more body roll, which this thing definitely does, but it's actually pretty stiff for the model of car that this is right here. And we're in normal mode right now. I'm going to step on it a little bit. And you can, yeah. Yep. You can definitely feel that turbo kick in right around 3,000 RPMs. And honestly, before the turbo kicks in, this thing is a little bit of a dog. But once the turbo kicks on, this thing actually has quite a bit of power. It's not going to get you from point A to point B fast, but it's going to get you there comfortably. And that's the main point of this car, is the overall quality of the interior, the overall just aroma of driving this car on a long road trip and getting out and just being comfortable and not even feeling like you actually drove that far. So we currently got this thing in sport mode right now. We're going to step on the gas, see the difference. Wow. Okay, so that's a really big difference. So from driving it in normal, it takes a little while in order for it to shift down a gear and actually kick in the boost and get power. When you're in sport mode, it really kicks in the boost right away, and that's a really big difference actually. But besides all the cool features that the NX300 has, my favorite part about this car is the fact that it's a Toyota and the fact that it's reliable and it's going to last a really long time. That's the reason why this specific model is a non-hybrid, non-all-wheel drive version, because it's just less stuff to break in a 5, 10, or 15-year period of owning this car. And throughout the 30,000 miles this car has, all we've had to do is annual maintenance and the bare minimum just to keep this thing going. And with that being said, that's my favorite part about the NX300, is the fact that it's so reliable and cheap to maintain on a yearly basis. There's a lot of other competitors to this car, especially German cars, that a lot of people would argue that are better and more refined than this. But at the end of the day, you're not going to have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars a year on annual maintenance just to keep this thing on the road. This car is super low cost for how luxurious it is and everything that it offers. And that is the 2021 Lexus NX300. And if you guys liked review style content like this, please be sure to leave a comment down on this video and I'll make more reviews just like this. And for those of you who don't know, the JJ Vids channel recently reached 500 subscribers, and we did a giveaway for that, and now we got a new giveaway going on, and that's going to be the 1,000 subscriber or $100 giveaway for the JJ Vids channel. And in order to get signed up for that, all you have to do is read the description below and you'll be dialed in. And you guys, thank you for supporting the JJ Vids channel. Be sure to follow my Instagram, subscribe to the channel, as well as turn on that notification bell and like this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.